Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we are going to be continuing on with our C# programming tutorial series, and in this particular tutorial we are going to be taking a look at static members in C#. Now, what exactly are static members? Well, static members are members of a class, such as properties or methods, that belong to the class itself and not to an instance of a class like a normal method or property or field would. So inside of these static members, for example, you cannot use the this keyword because this refers to the current instance of a class, but because a static member doesn't belong to an instance of a class, this is not allowed. All right. So keep that in mind as you go forward into looking at exactly how this works. Inside of Visual Studio Code, we're going to create a class called Utilities, and this Utilities class is going to contain a single method. This method is going to be marked as static, so it'll be a static member of the Utilities class. And what this method will do is it will return an array of 20, 30, 40 integers, depending on what you want to do with it. We'll pass it a size that we want it to use. It'll go from 1 to that size, right? And then it will it'll cube them and store it in a list. And then in that list, we can also return the array for that. So let's get started here. Inside of Visual Studio Code, or Visual Studio, depending on whatever it is that you're using, let's go ahead and create a class called Utilities. Utilities, like that. All right, we'll mark that here. All right, so now we're going to create our static member. So public static, and then we're going to return an array of integers, and then public static int, the method will be called get cubed values. And inside of the parentheses, we're going to define two different parameters. The first being the size of the array. Okay, so the size of our array. And then I believe we should just need the size of it. So we should be fine then. Okay. I had something else on my mind when I was speaking about this at the same time, so that's why I thought we were going to do two parameters, but no, we're just going to do one, and that's the size. Okay. Now, all right. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say for int I is equal to let's say 1, I is less than or equal to size I plus plus. All right. All right, there we go. And inside of here, we are going to say int result equals I times I times I. And we'll also make sure that we have a list here. So list int cubed values equals a new list int, like that. Okay. And so then we can also say cubed values dot add result. Okay. After that, after our for loop is finished, we want to return cubed values dot to array. Okay, and that is our method. Now, if we want to use this method, we can say int numbers equals utilities dot get cubed values. And then we'll say we want, let's say we want 50 values. Okay. Now, we can console dot write line numbers, and we can save this, open our terminal, okay. Okay, and we can say .NET run. And so now it's going through and creating our array and all that. And let's see here if my screen reader will cooperate. All right, so that's what it prints out. It prints out system.int32 whatever, right? Well, if we want the string representation of this, we can go ahead and instead of just printing out the array itself, we can say dot toString like that. Save it. We can clear, and then we can say .NET run like that. Again, it just prints out system32 or system whatever .int 32, and so how exactly then do we print out all the values for this? Well, we need to loop through it. That's just the long and short of it. Let's go ahead and say for each int number in numbers console write line number. Let's see. You know what? Visual Studio Code is being just as annoying as Visual Studio right now, so let's try that again. For each int number in numbers we can console write line number. Okay. Now, let's save this and run it again. Okay. And there we go. We get all of our numbers inside of that array. And that's great and all, but what if we also want to see how many even numbers are in this array? Well, we can do that with yet another static member. So let's say public static int number of even values int array, or rather numbers, let's say. And then in here, we can say for, or rather, okay. Okay. There we go. The formatting should be okay now. We can say int number of even values equals 0. There we go. Okay, number of even values for each int number in numbers Okay. And in here, we can say if number modulus 2 equals 0, we can say number of even numbers or values plus equals 1. And then here we can say return number of even values, like that. So now, if we save this, and instead of going and looping through the array here, we can say console.writeLine utilities dot number of whatever. You get the idea. So we can say get number of even values, numbers, like that. And I'm going to go ahead and change the naming here. Get number of even values. Okay, save that and go ahead and run it again. And .NET run. Okay. Let's see here. There, save that, clear, .NET run. And it, okay. Okay. Number of even values save that. Now let's run it again. Now that we fixed all of our typos here. And there we go. We now have 25 even numbers. And if we were to do something similar with the odd numbers, we would get a similar result. But we're not going to do that. This video's gone on long enough, and hopefully you guys have a pretty good idea of how static numbers actually work here. So that pretty much does it for this video, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.